What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Big Country, and we're back with another bonus tune included in the extra material from the Peace in Our Time period. Once again, big shout out to Wayne, who has shared a great many things, including Big Country and others. And if it's possible, I would appreciate if you can give me a little more time. There's still stuff that you've shared that I haven't downloaded, so thank you for sharing and for the patience. And I will lean on you in terms of what extra material that you sent that we should go through once we finish the bonus material from Peace in Our Time. And yes, I should mention this track that we're about to hear is listed as an instrumental, whereas the last track turned out to be an instrumental, but I went into it not knowing that. So I won't spend too long on the title here, though the title is quite interesting. Is it Soapy Soutar Strikes Back? So I don't know what Soutar is. It sounds a bit like a sitar, and in that case I would think it might have an Eastern sound, sort of the plucked particular quality that a sitar has sonically. But yes, a soutar, I'm not sure what that is, so even just conceptually knowing it's an instrumental, I don't quite know what to do with that. But yes, ultimately I'm keen to hear the band jam a little bit, so to speak, or to express a mood, an atmosphere, a vibe without using words, which is always an interesting experience, which, people who know this channel will know I listen to a lot of classical music, a lot of techno and trance, and styles of music that can convey feeling and meaning without actually using words. So I'm always keen to hear an instrumental from a band that does have songs with lyrics in other contexts. So in any case, let's listen to it. This is a tune, at least from the period, if not specifically from 1988, of Big Country's 1988 album Peace in Our Time, and thank you again to Tim for providing the proper album. And this is Soapy Soutar Strikes Back. It does sound a little bit Eastern. Is that a sitar? But it also sounds like East Asian. was a very mesmerizing, even hypnotizing tune, and I found myself keying in on pretty much all the different sonic elements at one time or another. The drums, dynamic, cycling, complicated, like complex but very clear rhythms. And then the bass, it was, a subtle and foundational aspect of the song, or the tune, I should say. Is it a song if there's no one singing? This is a semantic debate I've had before. But yes, it was a very, deep groove and a subtle part of the arrangement, but very powerful and noticeable at different times across the course of the track. And then, of course, there was what either was a sitar proper or at least a guitar played in a very jangly and tightly interwoven way that sounded like a sitar. So again, I don't know if sutar was a play on words, or maybe that's another word that is used for the same instrument or a similar type of instrument. And in that regard, it did have what is sometimes called a Near Eastern sound, though I suppose that's relative, right? That's essentially from the perspective of Europe or the West, versus, or in addition to, a Far Eastern sound with what I think were flute type instruments. Maybe they were played in keyboard form, but yeah, it had that woodwind East Asian sound, as well as that sitar, which sounds more like Middle Eastern or Near Eastern. So definitely some different world ethno-cultural sonics, or folk music type sonics on this one. But I think we also heard more traditional big country guitar, and maybe even Igbo guitar. I'm not sure about that specifically, but yeah, in a way it sounded typical big country in that it had this dynamic arrangement of traditional instruments, but then also a more exotic flavor relative to a lot of their tunes I've heard, in that there were sounds that again sounded Eastern, or beyond the typical guitar, whether you're talking strummed or plucked, or indeed played with an Igbo type guitar. But yes, bass and drums, more traditional sounds for any, I suppose, band in Europe or the US, but even specifically big country. So in a way it was very big country, and then in another way it was beyond what I would typically expect from them. And it was very movie montage, or maybe even you could play this when they're walking out for a concert, the kind of tune that is played on a recording, but as they're hitting the stage about to actually start playing live, or maybe even in a documentary about big country during a montage where we're seeing behind the scenes, or travel footage of them on tour and so on. It really had me visualizing some different scenes, and again, maybe the idea that they're traveling to different places around the world was well represented in those Eastern, or non typical sounds within their sonic catalog. So yeah, a really compelling tune that has my brain intrigued even without words, which again is a good indication that an instrumental piece of music can very much be mentally fulfilling or engaging despite not having words to tell you a specific narrative story. So in any case, I really enjoyed that. Let me know what you think. Shout out to Wayne once again, and to Tim and to Han Solo, who provided the earliest big country material. You are all appreciated. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.